Join us.
The new cast of Survivor is 18 people. Baka, baka, baka. I say that every time when they come up, like the Notorious B.I.G. song. Wu-Tang, you know what song I'm talking about?
Actually, I don't. But
give me the loot.
It's funny you bring Baka up because I think Serge Baka.
Come when you hear Baka?
Yeah, every time.
Come on in.
Like, subscribe, and share while you outwit, outplay, and outlast.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Rod. Rod, what are you hot about today?
Well, listen, Jimmy, I'll tell you something. I'm actually not hot about anything,
Whoa.
But wait a minute.
What?
Do I hear? Is that the Mrs. Morgan You Know's music? She's actually hot about something, and so we have a surprise guest appearance right now. By God.
Hello. So, this is the Mrs. Morgan You Know, Kate Morgan. Last night, I watched Extreme Rules, and I loved it. Great matches, and even my favorites who lost still represented well, I think. With one exception. Rhea Ripley, I hope you're listening because we need to talk. While your handcuffs, your brass knuckles, and even your maniacal laugh played villainously well, the move you made on Beth Phoenix after Edge said he quit and you vowed not to follow through was completely and totally out of line. Now, as the female, proud feminist voice of the Morgan You Know podcast network, I think it needs to be me who says there's no coming back after hitting an unconscious woman over the head with a chair after a match has ended. Unfortunately, while it's something a man has and will continue to come back from, here's looking at you, Seth Rollins.
Oh.
A woman hitting another woman, and a Hall of Famer at that, is doomed. And look, fellas, I don't make the rules. Rhea, because, Lord knows, I change more than this one if I could. Equal work for equal pay, but I digress. However, with that said, your time as a heel has been permanently solidified. So I hope you like being booed, because you won't be hearing applause for a long, long time.
Jimmy, come on. I couldn't have done it any better than that. How about this surprise appearance?
That out of nowhere, that was, I'm actually really shocked about this. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I mean, who knew that the heels lie? Unfortunately, the Mrs. Morgan, hasn't watched as much wrestling as we have, because we could see that coming from a ways away. But I agree. There has to be some morals in wrestling, Rod, and, well, Rhea Ripley has none.
Yeah, listen, the Mrs. Morgan was just incredibly disappointed last night when this went down on Extreme Rules, and we were literally talking about it earlier today, and I said, what's better in wrestling than a surprise appearance? So the Mrs. Morgan was here giving her take real quick at the beginning of the podcast.
That's amazing, Kate. We really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much from that.
Boys.
Chris King is with us as well from North Carolina. Chris, I'm kind of speechless after that. How about you?
That was a great take. But earlier in the night, we did watch two women beat each other with baseball bats and throw each other through tables. So, I don't know. That's part of the WWE.
Well, I think beat with baseball bat is a little strong there, but we'll talk about that here in a second. We also have we've got a 5-person pod today, I believe. The Cleveland Crippler is back. Mark, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. It's going good. I can't top Kate.
Nobody can.
I got nothing.
Okay, so let's talk about Extreme Rules here, and I need to bask in my glory because I won the night at 5-1 overall with my predictions, and the only loss I had was because I thought something else was going to happen on SmackDown. The second that Gunther retained the championship, albeit a little controversy there on SmackDown, I knew my pick was going to be wrong for the pay-per-view. So I went 5-1. Chris, you went 2-4. Rod, co-host, 2-4, and Mark, a very respectable 4-2. So I think we all did pretty good there. Rod,
what do you mean we all did pretty good? I did terribly. That was a pathetic pay-per-view performance by me. Goodness gracious. I try to be somebody that comes on and hosts a weekly wrestling podcast, and that's the kind of performance I put out. First off, I'm mad at myself for thinking that belts were just going to change hands willy-nilly. That was completely crazy of me. And second off, I I tried to lead with my heart more often than I should have, other than the only match that I got right. And that's the thing that makes me the most mad. I was completely mad to pick against my guy Seth Rollins, and that was one of the only matches I got right.
Well, you thought with your head instead of your heart there, and you really should have done that a little bit more with that 2-4 record. So overall, Extreme Rules, 6 really solid matches. I thought the pay-per-view, Chris, I thought it felt a little long because of all the stipulations. Did you get any of that, or did you think it flowed pretty well?
No, there were some times it definitely lulled. It felt like it was dragging on. It's Extreme Rules, essentially. No matter what, just about anything goes for the most part. I did enjoy all the matches, though. Definitely a few stood out more than others, but there was those. They had some 15 to 20 minute breaks in between matches that I thought were a little long.
Yeah, Marc, as someone who watches wrestling a lot, do you really like those video packages, or do we need to kind of get to the point a little quicker?
I hate them.
Okay.
You rehash it on the pre-show, and then in between each match, you rehash the rehash. I don't care. It's the same stuff. Just get to it and stop with the commercials. If I want to watch commercials, I'll watch USA Network.
Okay, so Rod, as someone who watched it with someone who doesn't watch wrestling on a weekly basis, do you think those helped or hurt the show pacing-wise?
See, I got to be honest. I get exactly what you guys are saying here, right? But this is the thing, the trap, for lack of a better word, that we fall into here on the Morgan podcast, right? We are older gentlemen who enjoy wrestling on one different level, right? But wrestling at its core is still trying to spread to the biggest mass audience it can. So on some level, they understand that they're bringing in their biggest audience for the premium live events, and the last thing you want to do is leave those people questioning what's going on. So I get that those need to be in place. Here's the other thing. As far as commercials go, I've grown up with advertising. I understand that advertising is a way of life. I would love nothing more than an advertiser to pay Jimmy and I to be a sponsor of the Morgan podcast, and I would gladly break in the middle and do a read for them. So advertising is a necessity in life. I have the version of Peacock where I don't get the actual ads, but I get the Charlotte Flair video, the Kevin Owens video, the Miz video, all of those different things. And what actually happens for me is I get mad that they show me a Charlotte Flair video and then I can't actually see Charlotte Flair in the match anytime soon. That's all that happened for me, Jimmy.
That was one comeback that did not happen, but we'll talk about one that did here in a few minutes. So let's go right into the pay-per-view here, and let's start where the Mrs. Morgan started with Finn Balor and Edge. They got 30 minutes, and a kind of a theme on this show was outside interference. And when you have an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and most of the matches are in that Extreme Rules or some variation of that, you're going to have a lot of outside interference. And I think this one, you expected it. Everyone knew it was going to happen, but it really did take a long time to get there. I thought the match was good. I obviously picked exactly how it ended, and I thought that was done well, because now the big thing, Rod, Rhea Ripley took bumps. That is good.
That is good, and you know that I have a soft spot for Rhea Ripley, so I love that you brought it there to me. But actually, where I'd like to start, Jimmy, if you don't mind me steering in a different direction, what I came out of that match with, more than the ins and outs, which I'm sure we'll get into, is Finn Balor is a main event guy, right?
Yep.
We kind of had Finn in a nether region there for a little while. We didn't know what was going on with him. He takes over the Judgment Day. It's a bit of a spotty thing. Edge had only started it for a couple weeks. Then Finn Balor's the leader. Then we're told there's no leader. Then we're told Finn Balor is the leader again. But what happened for me in that match is I buy Finn Balor as a guy who can beat up against any one of the other big names in the WWE. So I walk away from that match with that, but there's certainly many other things we can discuss.
Yeah, I really did like that Finn Balor kind of taking the next step forward. Mark, do you see him, as Rod and I do, kind of going to that next level now, or is he still going to be kind of where the Judgment Day has been?
I agree with both of you guys. When he first came up from, Rod, you're going to hate me, NXT.
There it is, drink, everybody.
When he first came up from NXT, he became the first, the newer age Universal Champion, and the only reason he wasn't champion anymore is he got injured Rod, you're going to hate me again, by a Seth Rollins powerbomb that went awry. He had to give up the title. He was a main eventer when he first came in. So, he got injured, went to the wayside for a while, messed around on the mid-card, and then now he's coming back, working his way up, getting his legs back under him again. Not that he ever lost them, but he's getting that groove back, and I think this match proved it.
So, Chris, is this one of those matches where you thought it was a little slower? Because I really do like getting your opinion on these things, because you are not as involved as we are. Chris, what did you think about the Balor Edge match and how it ended?
The match overall I liked. I don't think it ran a little long. I think 30 minutes was good. I'm an Edge fan, too. Like, I watched him back when him and Christian were together as a tag team, and so I tend to pay attention to his matches anyway, no matter what. I picked Edge in this match because I really didn't think he was going to say I quit, but I also didn't expect them to have his wife out there in the ring trading blows with Ripley and then getting bashed over the head with some brass knuckles either. So I thought that was a good term. I do think the WWE is smart in how they're handling Judgment Day now. They're becoming a little bit more legitimate. And to be quite honest as well, I kind of enjoy the Dominique character as part of Judgment Day than as essentially a toddler behind his dad.
Yeah, that's a good call, Chris. Honestly, I was way more enthralled with Dominic Mysterio's appearance on my television screen during this premium live event than I have been by him in months. So I got to completely agree with you there.
I love the Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley stare down. The fans bought it. They loved it. They had a great crowd tonight. And I think that's going to be a huge Survivor Series, probably tag team type thing situation there. Something that we do need to talk about with these fans as well. Rod put the over/under at 1.5 ECW chants, and I will admit in the text thread I said no way. There's going to be a ton more than that. I think they did mute some of those out because I did hear one, but that's kind of all I hear. So I think the under happened there for you, Rod, on the ECW chants. That shocked me. It really did.
Well, what I believe, right, is if we are to think that we actually are in the Shangri-La days of the new Triple H regime, right? So, of course, we're going to have a card that people buy into, right? And the reason that and so many of those other, chants of people who aren't around and all that stuff would happen is because there'd be matches that people weren't interested in, and we just get far fewer of those right now in the honeymoon days we live here in the Triple H era.
So we did get a "We Want Wyatt" pretty decent chant during the Rollins-Riddle match. Lasted for a couple of go-throughs and then went away. But other than that, really, the crowd did buy into everything tonight. So I thought that was really good.
I was wrong on the crowd, though, Jimmy. We should probably address this here real quick.
I was literally going to the next one. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to that next. Thank you for transitioning. We think alike a little bit. But the crowd really did kind of fall in line with a lot of things. And one of the things that we chatted about last time, Rod, was the Liv Morgan Ronda Rousey. I thought that they were going to hate Rousey and like Liv. You thought they were going to really hate Liv and like Rousey. It really kind of, it wasn't one way or another to the extreme, correct?
It was kind of lukewarm both ways for sure. And I really thought that we'd get more of a pop for Ronda winning. I kind of did. I don't know why I thought that, but I felt that in my soul. But what I will say is the way Ronda won and then the way she acted immediately after the belt is the way Ronda should be acting. And so I'm excited for this at least. But, who is going to step up to be someone that challenges the new King heel? That's always going to be the question.
For sure. And Mark, I heard rumors that when you fall asleep, you have that big smile on your face like Liv Morgan does too. Is that correct?
Yep. I do. I think two things. I think Liv Morgan's time in the spotlight is on the downside.
Yeah.
Unfortunate because she's actually stepped her game up ever since she became champ and got this run. She's total night and day from where she was when she was with the Riot Squad. Total night and day from then. I think she's on the downside. But now I also think, for something I've said to Rod a few times, now we can get a storyline with Shayna Baszler, who was one of Triple H's favorites.
Yeah, you do love Shayna Baszler. And one thing I want to talk to Chris about here is, I kind of agree. Liv Morgan isn't as crisp as you like to see a champion be. That ending, I don't know what really happened there. There was it was like kind of a butt move thing that Rousey did. Chris, when you have hit people with baseball bats in the past, do you pull back as much as they did in this matchup?
No, they had no follow through. That's for sure.
There's a reason for that, because if you hit somebody with a baseball bat as hard as you can, you break things, and
it's
so
not
just
the bat.
It's so there's two things. We've got, if you're going to use a real baseball bat, you only use it like once or twice, because it looks ridiculous when you do it, because you're not actually hitting him. If you use a rubber bat, you got to be careful, because they've used rubber things before. In WCW, there's a famous Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 2x4 that was a little bad there. So, Chris, in this match, did that kind of take you out at all, or did you appreciate this match for what it was, and do you think Ronda is the right choice to move forward?
Yes, I think Ronda's the right choice to move forward. I really do. It was a little bit ridiculous at first there. I mean, but the men do the same thing with sledgehammers, you know. Instead of swinging a sledge, they just kind of like, I'm going to punch you with the end of it, kind of. And they use it once or twice and they get rid of it. So that's one thing they didn't do. But, like, there were some welts on Liv Morgan's stomach and side area that she legitimately got hit, especially with that belt.
Oh, for sure. For sure. She got destroyed there. Now, Rod, your namesake did not have the best night. She was in a corner, kind of had a weird look on her face at the end of the night as well. Where do you see Liv going from here? And then do you think your girl's coming back to face Ronda, or are we going to go through a couple other people first?
Listen, you know me. I got Charlotte Flair on Pop Watch for sure, and I would absolutely freak the minute that she comes back in the robe and the fireworks are going off behind her. But what I want to say about Liv Morgan is immediately following this match was on the train of thought that we have heard expressed by Mr. King and by you here so far. But the Mrs. Morgan who we heard here at the beginning of this podcast with her extremely hot take about Rhea Ripley, turned me around a little bit and said what we actually had here was Liv putting up a hell of a fight, more than we honestly thought that she would be able to, and she actually sort of comes out of this looking okay. We have Liv Morgan here, Jimmy, and I want to get your opinion on this. We have Liv Morgan essentially in the same exact spot that we have one of the most revered superstars of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, in. Now, Liv Morgan was not bleeding all over her face the way Stone Cold was when he passed out in that match, but we have Liv Morgan not quitting, busting Ronda Rousey through a table, going through all the different iterations, trying to win that match, and not giving up in the end. I think Liv actually comes out looking okay here, because it's Ronda Rousey. The same way that I mentioned to you in our pre-show that somebody losing to Drew McIntyre at this point would not be a bad deal because Drew McIntyre is a top-level superstar. Ronda Rousey is supposed to be painted as one of the best to ever do it. So for Liv Morgan to lose against her but look that good, I might be interested to see if she actually hangs near the top a little more than you think here, Jimmy. I don't think she's immediately getting a rematch and getting it back, but she may hang up a little bit closer to the top than we think.
So they have done the pass out instead of tap out a lot recently. When they did that with Austin and he was bleeding, you had not seen that forever, which is what made it so special. And the crowd was a little bit more behind Austin than any way that they are Morgan. I can kind of see where you're going there, but it wasn't as special. And the fact that they kind of messed it up again, Liv has done some good things in her matches, but there's always one or two small things that just don't work for the crowd. They don't work for me. Mark, your thoughts on that?
I would agree. There's, and it kind of goes along with what I said earlier, how she was a train wreck when she came in with the Riot Squad. Now, with her losing to Ronda, it's a night and day with her performance and her skill level. But but there's still, like you just said, there's one or two things that she does every match. It's like, oh, stop. Just don't do that, and you'll be fine, kind of thing.
So let's go from that title match where we had a winner to the ladder match between Bianca and Bayley. And I thought this had a chance to be the main event. You could see it during the match that, and Rod, you and I talked about this last week, where I was a little nervous about Bayley being on a ladder match after being out for a year with a knee injury. Bayley's falls from the ladder were relatively tame. Now, the KOD to the ladder and her face wasn't the best. But Rod, I mean, there were some really hard hits in here. And, you know, Bianca, give it to Bianca. KOD on the tag team champions is pretty good, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bianca, she comes out looking, I heard this from the guys over on the Ringer Podcast Network.
Sure.
So I'm going to credit them for this, but it's just so good that I got to regurgitate it here, all right? Bianca Belair is essentially John Cena at this point right now, okay? She is somebody who is an athletic marvel. She is someone who the kids are absolutely 100% behind. We're not anywhere near her being able to turn heel because of the amount of merch and the amount of kids that buy her and all the above. So losing the title to me made sense to put her back on the chase, but I also completely understand continuing to build the legend that is Bianca Belair, because I think that this women's ladder match was a nominee for match of the night, and I think it's also unfortunate that neither of the women's title matches ended up being the main event. I get that logistically they wanted to move the fight pit in last, and that's probably why it was there. And of course I love Seth Rollins, but I think the women have a gripe here about not being the main event of that pay-per-view.
Yeah, Chris, what did you think about that? Did you think that this match should have been the main event, or the fight pit between Riddle and Rollins as it was?
I did enjoy the fight pit. You do like to see a title on the line on your main event and any pay-per-view. You really do. And both women's titles were on the line tonight. And they were both good matches. There were definitely some hard hits in this ladder match. It impressed me. I thought they were going to do kind of what you did, Rod. I thought if Bayley won it, then Bianca would get the chase on again. I definitely thought there was going to be interference like there was. But here's something that I think they may try to do as well. If they try to do with the women's titles what they've done with the men and make a universal champion, now you can get Belair versus Ronda Rousey.
And that could be something, Mark, do you think we could maybe see that at Survivor Series to kind of unify the titles there?
I could see it happening, but I've also read a few articles that Fox and USA have talked to the WWE about having split titles. They want a heavyweight champ on their network. They don't like this, sorry Rod, part-timer stuff that Roman Reigns does.
Well, I think that it depends on who the champion is.
True.
And if you get that champion going back and forth on both brands, you're fine. Especially if you do have someone like a Bianca Belair who's going to be more full-time.
Absolutely, Jimmy. What network is going to complain about getting Bianca Belair on their television show, right? Like, Mark, you're absolutely right that we don't want to put the belt on somebody who's a part-timer like Roman Reigns. Now, do I want to come off as saying I'm anti-tribal chief here? No. The guy's put in great work. He deserves to be able to work however less or however much he wants to. But I do agree with you that uniting the belts would be a great thing, but I think Survivor Series is probably a little early, Jim. Don't you think we want to hold that off till WrestleMania?
Well, we could hold that off to WrestleMania to make it bigger.
Don't we think we want to get Becky Lynch involved in that again, probably, or Charlotte Flair when they come back?
Anything to get those two ladies involved in WrestleMania, I'm sure
that
you would love
make
to do
more
that.
sense. Be WrestleMania.
But then, Rod, I do want to go back to your point because it was a good one, where Bianca is like John Cena in the fact that the merchandise and people love her, but the one thing she's not like is people all love her. There isn't a half and half booing and are sick of her yet. So they are doing a very good job of keeping her relevant, even though she's had the belt for a little while now. I see her going, if they're not going to do some kind of a unification match, I see her going to Rumble at least with the belt in her hands. Chris, do you see this being a continued long reign for Bianca Belair?
I don't see anybody really challenging her yet. I mean, she handled all three of Damage Control fairly easy even when they came in, and she's the EST. You can't take it away from her. So at this point, I don't see anybody taking the title from her.
Hey, Rod, as someone who didn't know too much about Dakota and Io, I don't think this is helping them very much when they are basically manhandled by one woman, or woman-handled, whatever you want to call it, pretty easily here. I don't know. I'm a little worried about damage control. I think they're going to get a pretty big and decisive beatdown win on Monday to kind of build them back up, and I'm a little nervous about this group right now.
I think you're onto something there, Jim. What I want to do is I want to backtrack a tad bit here. I was
Sure.
kind of coming anti-hard Bayley leading into this match, and I think you're right that there were still some times where she was a little bit timid here. But Bayley's ability to be number one heel on the women's side right now is pretty amazing. When you look back at the absolute complete white meat babyface hugging everybody sensation that Bayley was when she came in, right? And you put it where she's at now and just, reacting to the crowd at every moment and taking those spills. And, I mean, I was way, way impressed with Bayley. But, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. The minute that Bianca lifted up the tag team women's champions on top of her shoulders at the same time and KOD'd them down to the mat, I literally thought to myself, why do I care about either of these two?
Yeah, you got to be careful building up some people, bringing down others. Do you want to do that at the same time? That's a good transition again, Rod. That's why we do what we do. To the next match I want to talk about, and it was the strap match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Typically, strap matches involve a very easy way to win. You have to hit all four corners of the ring with your hand to win the strap match. It's a good way, it's a good storytelling device to have someone hit 3 in a row and then the other person stops them, or someone getting a cheap win. That wasn't the case here, and that kind of threw me off a little bit in general. I know, Rod, it might not have thrown you off too much. Mark, it might have you. I thought this match was just okay. Karrion had to get the win. The ending was fine, but we have so many of these.
The ending was not fine, but I'll wait.
We have so many of these interference type matches. One thing I did like about the ending is after Karrion got the win, he kind of pretended that the pepper spray was in his eyes. But I think they could have done a little bit more to build Karrion in this. So this match did not live up to my expectations. And I know both Mark and Rod want to get into this. So, Chris, I want to let you go first because I have a feeling you're not going to get a chance to talk much about this one. Chris, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, it was fine. I was expecting a little bit more. I've really become a McIntyre fan. I really want him to win matches whenever he's involved. So that depressed me a little bit as well. I'm still trying to figure out what Scarlett was wearing during this match. It was quite
it was clothing, Chris. It was clothing.
Well, there was fabric there.
There was nothing natural about any of that fabric. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. And then Rod, I got a question for you, dude. Do we have somebody else on notice now? I'm just asking questions.
No, listen, I'm not going to put Karrion Kross on notice, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to separate the ending of that match and certain parts of that match during the middle, okay? And Jimmy, while you are right that Karrion Kross may not be a Bret Hart level Hart Dungeon wrestling worker in the ring, okay? He might not be able to pull off a bunch of reverses and a bunch of side suplexes and fisherman carries and things of that nature. But what he absolutely is believable for whatever character he's putting out there on the screen. Now, do I fully understand the character that they're trying to give me right now? No, I don't. But am I intrigued by Scarlett and whatever fabric she decides to cover her body in? Absolutely I am. But my problem with that match is you have these two big hulking men who are beating the absolute hell out of each other for 10 to 12 minutes, and I was enthralled by all of that, right? The strap dragging each other around, slapping each other in the face and the neck and the back. That shit's gotta hurt, right? But you give me pepper spray at the end, and I was completely disappointed. You have this big hulking match between these big hulking men battling each other, and pepper spray is what swings it. Mark, that's what disappointed me. How about you?
Yeah. And the fact is, there was like, this is police pepper spray. No, 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 no. If you're going to use a product, then say it's police pepper spray. Make it actually look like it, for gosh sakes. Don't give me, soapy water or whatever and then pretend. Because I don't know about any of you guys. I have been hit in the face with pepper spray as part of my training. And their reactions, come on. Give me a break. At least teach them how to react to it if you're going to try and sell that. The thing with me is, yes, this was a good match. These guys, it reminded me of the Kane and Undertaker surrounded by flames match, where every time they slammed each other, flames shot up from around the ring. It reminded me of that match. They were beating the heck out of each other in that match. This match with Cross and Drew, they were beating the heck out of each other, and then to have an ending like that, come on.
Chris, let me ask you something. Let me ask you this, Chris. All right, you love Drew McIntyre. Let me ask you this. And I love Drew McIntyre too, but you know what? Every once in a while we got to break a little bit harsh on somebody, okay? Do you get a little bit sick of with Drew McIntyre where it's always like, oh, there's a neck breaker, right? And then, oh, here's a future shock DDT, and oh, here comes the countdown. You know what I mean? Like, Drew McIntyre to me is just so formulaic. It's a little bit Hogan, like, oh, here comes the leg drop. You know what I mean? Like, that just gets on my nerves. And so, like, the only time where McIntyre got great offense on Karrion Kross was the same script he goes to always. Chris, does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. I like the signature and then the finisher. Like I like it. Like I liked it when Goldberg did it. I liked it when The Rock did it. I definitely liked it when Hogan did it. It doesn't necessarily bother me at all. Like that's who they are. Like if he changes up his character, then he can change it up. But right now, that works for me.
I love the fact that Mark was upset that they didn't use the Phoenix pepper gel, and they just used a black little bottle. And then Rod was kind of more of the, hey, it's the wrestling part was pretty decent in there. Cross had some really good shots on McIntyre's shoulder. I'm just interested to see what happens moving forward with Cross and McIntyre. I think they need to go their separate ways. Cross needs to get involved in somebody else.
But if they go their separate ways, Jimmy, what's Drew doing? That's what I worry about, because I agree with you that they should go their separate ways, but Drew's a little bit lost here, Jim, and I brought this up a little bit before our preview episode, that I felt like Drew kind of needed the win here because he's been a bit adrift ever since he got, screwed by Roman Reigns, and then here we are again. He gets taken out by Karrion Kross, who I admit we're building up, and that's good. But there's still a substantial amount of people out there in the WWE universe that don't buy Karrion Kross, and here's Drew McIntyre losing to him.
Well, you would think that he might be able to be involved in some kind of, the Survivor Series War Games match moving forward. So kind of putting him in that realm. I think I would love to see him with the Brutes and Imperium, which we're going to talk here in a second. But really, we want to continue to see the Brutes and the Imperium fight each other. So I don't know if there's really any room for them. Match of the night, by far, in my opinion, was the Brawling Brutes and Imperium. They just work well together. Why? Because you have 6 good wrestlers and you have, I would say, 3 to 4 really solid sports entertainers as well in that match. Putting all that together, it makes a fantastic match. And obviously, with Gunther winning the Intercontinental or retaining the Intercontinental title on Friday, the Brutes
Wait a
had
minute,
to
Jimmy,
win.
Let's address that real quick. I gotta come clean on something here. All right, the Mrs. Morgan, is watching SmackDown with me. Okay, the match is getting ready to go off. She's loving the ring announcer because she loves the ring announcer on SmackDown. She's so great. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she's wonderful.
Very animated. Yes,
that whole thing's happening. Then I noticed that the referee for the match is Jessica Carr. And I literally say to the Mrs. Morgan, oh, that's cool that they're letting Jessica Carr referee this match. She's pretty solid. And then we have a completely mishmash garbage decision from Jessica Carr at the end of that match. I literally put my own foot in my own mouth on that SmackDown, Jimmy.
So that's tough. The WWE officials have always been told to call it like it's a shoot, meaning if something goes wrong, just call it like that. Gunther did tap twice.
Yes, he did.
And she knew that was not the finish, and she came up with the best lie she could to why that wasn't the finish. Like, he was trying to get it, but he couldn't really get it. The fans were confused. I think Sheamus played it off perfectly because he knew that wasn't the finish, obviously, but he was then upset that that wasn't the finish. So I thought that was done well to kind of try to hide it, but everyone saw what happened. So this is good though, Rod. This is good because it gives us match number 3. And hopefully it's at a premium live event because the first match was match of the year, probably in the WWE. This second match on SmackDown was good, but you had 4 minutes commercial break, 8 minutes commercial break, and then the final few minutes there. And it didn't flow as well just because of those commercial breaks. We're going to get another match, and it's going to be fantastic.
Well, listen, we don't even have to wait for a premium live event, Jimmy, okay? Give me Brawling Brutes and Imperium fighting each other every time there's a television show, all right? Put them on SmackDown, put them on Raw, have them do a tag team match, have them do a one-on-one match, have them do 3-on-3, whatever. Mix them up. It doesn't matter. Give me these 6 guys beating the hell out of each other all the time for quite a while because I love it. And here's the other thing that we need to point out. Nobody right now is more over than Sheamus. Honestly, nobody is more over than Sheamus right now. He was getting huge pops. And the thing that I love the most about that pay-per-view is Sheamus is an in-ring pro, but you could see in his eyes a little bit that he was eating it up and being like, holy shit, I can't believe that the WWE Universe is buying me this much now. They've never bought me this much in my entire career.
Hey Chris, when you had your old-fashioned Donnybrooks back in the aughts, did you use bars and shillelaghs as well?
Shillelaghs were a favorite of the crew. Yes, they were especially. And I'm going to agree with you guys. Like, I will watch these men wrestle every single week. It was my match of the night as well. It was a great match. That could have ended the night just as well as beginning it, but what a way to get the crowd into the event right off the bat. And I can watch Sheamus wrestle any day of the week. That guy knows how to work, and yeah, he was reveling in it. Like, you could tell it was fun for him in the ring that night. So I was impressed. I love this match, and these guys know how to work.
And Jimmy, he's over for just long-term storytelling, right? We didn't do any weird tweak here, right? We didn't change Sheamus's character. We literally just said, here's a guy who you know has been around for a long time, and we're just going to put him out there and put him in a position to do what he does best. And Sheamus is a top-notch sports entertainer. I mean, people are so into when Sheamus gets somebody around the rings and is going to give him the 10 beats. I mean, people are so into that right now. They're screaming their ass off, and all they're doing is counting.
They love it, especially when he did those like 30 beats on Gunther. Mark, this match is kind of the epitome of the Triple H new philosophy on things. 6 guys who like to beat the hell out of each other. Just go beat the hell out of each other. Nothing special. You know, there's a little gimmicky stuff with the Brawling Brutes, but yet not really because they've even taken that back a lot. It's just 6 guys who like to fight, and that works, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it does. You know, because it's allowing the diehard fans, you know, it's allowing folks like myself to reminisce like from the Attitude Era when you had fights like that almost every match. And again, this is, you know, 5 of these 6 wrestlers came from when Triple H was in charge of NXT. This is what the product was like when he was in charge. This is the kind of matches that happened every night when Triple H was in charge. And now you're starting to see the fruits of his labor on the main roster. And you're right. These guys can go. They're entertainers. They're wrestlers. They're fighters. They're brawlers. They're just all 6 of them now are over, I think.
Jimmy, let me apologize to you here, all right? Let me apologize to you here and give all praise to the real wrestling expert on this podcast, James Thomas Jamriska. All right. When Butch came around, you told me immediately that this was a guy named Pete Dunne and that he was awesome. And I said to you, you're ridiculous. There's no way this guy's awesome. This is dumb. Then he comes out and I start to buy him a little bit. And you tell me, no, Rod, don't worry. His old character, Pete Dunne's way better than this new character, Butch. And I say, yeah, Jimmy, you're full of it. No way that this old character can be any better. Then he comes out to the ring in a weird black unitard
You
and
love
stringy
that.
long hair. And I'm like, what in the world is going on with this guy? I make fun of him for a couple of successive weeks. And now I'll be damned if I don't find my eyes, drawn to wherever Pete Dunne, a.k.a. Butch, is in the match anytime an Imperium/Brawling Brutes thing is going down. This man is a top-notch sports entertainer. And one last point I want to make quickly here. Ridge Holland, you are welcome, because you are not nearly as strong a wrestler as all 5 of these other men that we were talking about, but you sort of get dragged along because you're in on it.
But that's also good because then you're building people up for the future, which is good. Speaking about building people up for the future, Chris, why was Daniel Cormier the special guest referee in this matchup tonight?
The only thing I could think of is because since it's Extreme Rules and Riddle especially has that MMA background, that's my only guess. I can't think of another reason. It was a weird, understandable, I guess, but an odd choice.
So the only reason you have a special guest referee is at the end, after the match is over, the heel gets either knocked out or choked out or something by that special guest referee. DC counted. He didn't even do that correctly sometimes because Riddle was basically down for about 3 minutes and he didn't count. I thought that the fight pit brought a unique look to the pay-per-view. I don't know if I would have put that on last because it really did take away from Riddle's win what happened afterwards. There were a couple cool moves off the fight pit. I know the WWE has to kind of figure out how to get a camera inside there. Rod, I'm really interested in your opinion on what happened here. Riddle gets the win. Riddle almost kills himself and Rollins as well with that jump off the pit. What do you think, Rod?
I think that was an impressive match, right? Like, I think that's one of those kind of matches that when I make my jokes about Riddle needs to get rid of the scooter, which we've seen more times where Riddle's come to the ring without the scooter than with it recently. So maybe he's finally going to get rid of the scooter, right? He's coming out to Matt Riddle. So I get that we're tweaking him, making him a little bit more of a badass, which is something I've looked forward to. I've also admitted that I am a bit conflicted because you, Jimmy, have called me out for this numerous times. Used to love Riddle and RK Bro and everything they were about, and then he got involved in a feud with my guy, and suddenly I hate Riddle. So I gotta come clean there. But I think that he looks really, really good coming out of this match. I think that the jump off of the top was great. I think that the work on the top was great. I think that Seth Rollins, again, is an amazing worker who can get somebody over. The work that he did for Cody Rhodes, okay, we can sure make fun that he lost all three of those matches, but his ability to make Cody seem like that big of a deal, he's got to get credit for that. He's now making Matt Riddle look like a big deal. Jimmy, I hope to God you are right that he wins the U.S. Championship from Bob Lashley tomorrow night on Raw. But here's what I will say. Jimmy, I'm with you. The special referee usually leads to something, and I'd love to see Daniel Cormier in the ring. And I hate saying this, but if DC's going to get in the ring, he's going to need to drop a few LBs because he looked a little chunky underneath that referee shirt.
Yeah, Mark.
He did.
Yeah, Mark. Give us your thoughts on that as well.
Well, to go on what Rod just said, the last time Daniel Cormier was in a ring, he fought Stipe Miocic and got his butt whacked. Okay, he was more in shape then than he was last night, and I thought he did okay considering. I will say I did text Rod at one point and said I think Rollins just crapped his pants when DC had him up against the fence.
I didn't appreciate that at all, by the way, Mark. I really didn't appreciate that.
I'm like, because Rollins had that oh crap look in his face. That's why I said it to you. But I think, the match overall was okay. I mean, it's only been used twice in NXT. But I could have used that to start the night instead and let like the Bailey Belair match be the main event.
Yeah, I think the Bailey Belair match would have been a good main event because the face won. People, she's walking out. They could have done the exact same thing, but that brings us to.
I was gonna say, they knew what they were doing at the end. They knew that all you wrestling nerds were gonna freak out with the ending. I'm gonna have to audio hose you and Mark down here. So Jimmy, go ahead.
It's okay. I've already watched it 50 times. So Bray Wyatt is someone that Rod missed a lot, I believe. I don't think you really saw too much of Bray Wyatt, and
he's basically dark period for me, Jimmy. He's basically dark period for me. His whole rise and fall, I was not actively watching the WWE at that time.
And then, Chris, are you familiar with Bray Wyatt? I cannot remember.
No, okay. I'm in the dark with him as well.
In the dark, valid. I like that. So Bray Wyatt has always been great on the mic. Sometimes he rambles a little bit, but he's really, as Triple H said, he is a genius. He comes up with a lot of different gimmicks. His initial Bray Wyatt gimmick was amazing, and then he's kind of evolved. He's kind of like a Chris Jericho in a way that he continuously evolves his character. Now, I think obviously Chris Jericho is one of the GOATs, so you need to put him a little bit higher there, but I do like how Bray Wyatt has done that. I love how this White Rabbit has taken everything Bray Wyatt did and then moved it to the here and now, kind of taking everything else. We did that. It is now away. This is the new Bray Wyatt. And Rod, that was such a huge pop. I can't even believe what happened.
Now, you know me. I love pops. As I mentioned earlier, my pop watch is the thing that we do on the podcast from time to time. So I can certainly appreciate the anticipation and the exultation that the crowd in Philadelphia showed as soon as Bray Wyatt came on the scene there. But what I also want to point out here, okay, is that so much of the time that Bray Wyatt was gone, I followed the dirt sheets, for lack of a better term, like everybody else does, right? And there was always so much speculation about what Bray Wyatt would do. And so many times people throw out Bray Wyatt should go AEW. I just want to take a time here to, and again, drink. This is Rod taking a shot at AEW. But there's no possible way Bray Wyatt could have ever gone to AEW to pull off anywhere remotely close to what this man wants to do in a professional wrestling ring, okay? What the WWE showed to you last night at the end of Extreme Rules is why they are the king, why they bring in all the money, and why people like me will always say they are the GOATs, and I do not care about AEW, and I do not care about NXT and New Japan and any of the other bullshit that goes on, because nobody can put forth the production value like the WWE that they did last night. Jimmy, I have no idea how much money went behind all of the QR codes and the things that they did with the right rabbit vignettes leading up to, and how many actors had to get paid last night for all the different things that they did, but it was damn impressive, and thank you WWE for being willing to put production value like that on my television screen.
Agreed.
Take it, Mark. Go right ahead.
I can't argue with a thing Rod said. Not one other wrestling company could have put forth what we saw. You know, from the fact that Bray Wyatt is a genius as far as creating and weaving his storyline in. The fact that everything that they did last night was for him to get him reacclimated because he had been away for so long. And to put a good positive taste back in the fans' mouth, because the last time they really saw him was, I believe, at Mania when Alexa Bliss turned on him, I thought, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. And that kind of left the fans a little, for lack of a better phrase. But what they did was just incredible to me. And, the only part of Bray Wyatt that I didn't like was I wanted to see more of him instead of just his face.
Yeah, but see, to me, Mark, that was incredible, right? Like, to me, we had the reveal, and, like, this is so much of a thing that WWE deals with now in the Twitter era and all that so much stuff sort of gets ruined, right? Like we all kind of knew it was going to end up being Bray Wyatt. But the fact that they still only gave us a little bit of him and then he blew out the lantern, like it was absolutely amazing. The Mrs. Morgan, and the Vanimals stayed up for all of Extreme Rules last night, right?
Nice.
And Jimmy, both of them were absolutely creeped out by the ending. And that's exactly what they wanted it to be, right?
Yep, and that's exactly what they wanted it to be. They wanted to just give you enough because that Raw rating, we got Monday Night Football. Oh, that Raw rating is going to be big. And Rod, that was his gimmick. He would come on the big screen when they first came out, and he would say, Philadelphia, we're here, and blow it out. And then the music would hit, and the Wyatt family would come out. And that's kind of a little homage to old school, so he's going to go back to that a little bit.
Speaking of old school, though, Jimmy,
I
believe that he and Randy Orton were locked in a battle, and Randy Orton burned him alive. So could we maybe get the reappearance of the Viper now that Bray Wyatt is back, Jimmy?
Yeah, he's hurt still.
Dang it, you always rain on my parade.
I mean, I would love to say yes, but he's still hurt. So it just depends what they do. That's the thing. Chris, they have to have Bray Wyatt have meaningful feuds that help both people. Do you think this can happen?
My question is he going to be more on Raw or SmackDown?
I'm assuming I don't know. I would think probably. So they got Reigns on SmackDown most of the time. I'm thinking Raw, but it depends on what they want to do. Because of football season, they may put him on SmackDown because they can get that bigger and bigger and bigger number. Like they did a couple weeks ago when they got a huge number, and he wasn't even there. So I think we'll see him.
He's going to SmackDown.
Now that I'm talking about it, he's going to go to SmackDown, but he will be.
He'll show up tomorrow
Something
night,
will happen.
right? Because
Yeah.
it'll be the big pop on Monday Night Raw, the season premiere, all the above, right? He'll show up tomorrow night for something, but he's going to SmackDown.
So speaking of Raw, we do have D-Generation X, the 25th anniversary. Billy Gunn will not be there because he's one of the stars in AEW now, but the other four will be. And Triple H said something very interesting on SmackDown. We're going to end with this. He said, whatever you think might be the end is just the beginning. Was kind of cryptic in what he was saying. We're going to leave on this. We're going to go to Chris, then Mark, then Rod. Chris, what do you think he's talking about?
A new era, a new DX team, maybe? I don't know.
Okay. That's an interesting prediction there. Mark, what is he talking about? You thought it was over, but it's just beginning.
Maybe the fact that Vince is quote unquote retired now. They're thinking, oh, WWE is done and over with. Now Triple H is in charge. Now look at what I've done in the short time I've been in charge. Here we go. Hop on board. It's going to be a ride.
Rod?
I would echo Mark's sentiments there. That's certainly how I took it, right? Is that we lived in a world for so long where all of us were worried, and so many who weren't huge wrestling fans talked about how could wrestling possibly be anything without Vince McMahon. Then we have the sudden and precipitous fall of Vince McMahon and Triple H thrown into the creative role, and we basically have then heard nothing but positive headlines out of the WWE since then. So I kind of take that as Triple H doing a bit of a pat on his back, which is certainly a staple in the world of professional wrestling, saying, yeah, you guys all thought we'd be in trouble when the man who ran this business for 40-some years walked away, but we're actually going to be doing better now because I'm running the show. That's how I took it.
I agree with everything that was said. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Mark. Thank you very much for stopping by. Really appreciate you, bud.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Chris King, you're going to give us something in a little bit here with Jimmy and Rod.
That's right. Extreme Rules was just as good as I wanted it to be, and I'm going to go ahead and break against the WWE real quick at the end. So we have this great Extreme Rules. We have this great War Games at Survivor Series that everybody's looking forward to, but we have smack dab in the middle of pay-per-view that's going to happen in the middle of the afternoon, and it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul and a bunch of other weird matches. So my dauber's going to be down for this stupid pay-per-view over in the Middle East, but I cannot wait for War Games.
Goodbye, Internet.